Hello and welcome to your last class in the CHD program, the portfolio. What I wanted to do in this introduction video is just show you how I have everything set up in Blackboard for you. And I also wanted to go through a PowerPoint I created that hopefully will help you as you go along. As you know, for the summer, this class is really intended to be an independent study where you really are kind of working wherever you're at to get your work done, and we don't meet face to face. However, I still feel like you need some guidance as you go, and so I'm hoping that this video, along with some other ones I'm going to create, are going to make it a little bit easier for you. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you what I have in Blackboard for you. So if you haven't already had the opportunity to browse through Blackboard, I wanted to show you where everything is. So when you look at the Blackboard screen, you will see the normal links over here on our left-hand menu. But the first place I'm going to start is in course information. And so when you click on this link, you're going to see the PowerPoint that I'm going to go through at the end of this video. But you're also going to find this is where the assignment packet that I got ready for you at the beginning of the semester, this is where you can access it. You're also going to see that I have recommended artifacts from each course, a NACCE table that I've created, a place where you can click on a video that goes through each of the 6 NACCE standards. And in the CHD documents folder is where you're going to find things like the milestones, the foundation blocks, the SOLs, and any other documents that we may have used along the way. So that all is in course information. Under course content, you're going to see that what I've done is I've kind of made it thematic for you. So if you find yourself at a point where you're working on using standards to organize your portfolio, everything you need is going to be in this folder. When we're working on the philosophy of education and your cover letter and resume, you're going to easily be able to find the information that you need. So I thought that this would be helpful to set it up this way so that you can go to whatever link you need. The last link I'm going to show you is the assignment link, and this is where everything that you have to do for this course is going to be listed. So again, you have your assignment packet, and then you'll notice for each of the assignments that the title of the assignment is listed as well as all of the information that you need. So again, as an independent study, you're kind of working at your own pace, knowing that your ending date is going to be the end of the semester. And for this summer, the end of the semester ends on August 2nd. So you have until then to get everything done. So whatever pace you're working at is going to be fine as long as everything gets done before the end of the semester. In the assignment packet, all of these are also listed in there, but I created a link so that you had one place where you could find everything. So you have some questions that you need to answer that are going to help with your philosophy of education. This week, I asked you to complete the discussion board about your personal background. And so all of this is leading up to your philosophy of education. So answering those questions is one of your assignments. The actual philosophy of education is going to be another one of your assignments. And I'm planning on creating a video for your philosophy of education as well as your cover letter and resume in the next week or so. And so that will be available for you on Blackboard as well. You're also going to have a parent support flyer that you need to create. This is actually a fun assignment where you can get creative with making a one-page newsletter that would be a go-to resource for parents who are looking for information on developmental milestones and screening, discipline, health and dental clinics, immunizations. If you are not actually in the Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk, Portsmouth area, and you're living out of state, then please feel free to create yours for whatever area you're in. I'm all about practicality, and so there's no need for you to research all of this information for an area that you're not going to be in. So this is one of your assignments. And then the last assignment that we have here are some interview questions. In a face-to-face class, I normally would have you come in and we would practice interviewing. You'd have a chance to show your portfolio, but that's obviously not something that we can do in an online independent study class. But this is a good start so that you've already had to begin thinking about the kinds of questions you might be asked in an interview. So that's where all of your assignments are. And if you're not familiar with how to submit assignments, all you have to do is click on the title of the assignment, and then it will bring up a screen where you're going to be able to actually scroll down and attach your document. Please make sure that you don't use the right submission button simply because it messes up the formatting and it makes it into one giant run-on sentence. So create everything in Microsoft Word, Publisher, something like that, so that you can just attach it. So that's how you would complete all of your assignments. The last thing I wanted to show you before I went through the PowerPoint was this link to the left called the portfolio homepage. If you have decided that you would rather create an electronic portfolio, we're going to try out this option over the summer. So I found that we can actually create portfolios through Blackboard. So I'm still working on it as well. I'm working on creating a cheat sheet for you, but I just wanted to show you how you get started. So when you click on the portfolio homepage link, it's going to bring you up to a screen that at this point doesn't have too much on it except for the fact that there's this button called Create Portfolio. So if you click on this, it's going to give you the opportunity to give a title to your portfolio. If you want to put a description in there, you can do that as well. And so this basically is just going to create a shell for you. And from there, we're going to be able to upload documents into it. So for the purposes of this course, this might be an easier option, especially if you're not in the area or if you're just not interested in creating a paper one in a binder. Most everything that you do, you save in an electronic format anyways. So really all you're going to have to do is get everything organized and then just upload it into your portfolio. And as I said, I'm working on trying to create a template portfolio for you and to do a cheat sheet. But just keep in mind, this is the first time that I'm doing it as well. We're just going to be guinea pigs together and see if this is something that might be helpful for students in the future. But I just wanted you to see that's where you would get started if you were interested in doing an electronic portfolio. So the last thing that I want to do is, again, go through the PowerPoint that I created just to get you started. So when we go back to the course information, you're going to see that there is a PowerPoint entitled Navigating Your Final Class, the Portfolio. And really the reason that I set this up was because I felt like sometimes it's a little bit difficult just to know where to get started. So this is how we're going to work through it together. So first step is make sure that you go through everything in Blackboard. So I've already gone through Blackboard and I've shown you where the recommended artifacts, where there's blank sheets for you, NAEYC standards table. But just kind of go through all of that on your own, making sure you understand everything and don't have any questions. You also need to decide whether or not you want to do a traditional or an electronic portfolio. And again, if you're going to do an electronic one, that's fine. Just let me know so I know that we're going to be working together to try and figure this out. But either way, your portfolio is going to have 8 sections in it. You're going to have a personal background section, and that's basically where you're going to put background checks, your resume, your philosophy of education, things like that. Then each of the NAEYC standards are going to have their own section of your portfolio. And then finally, your appendix is where you're going to want to put anything else that you would want to put in there to show off if you were going to be interviewing for a job. So certificates that you've gotten, notes that students have written to you, pictures that they've drawn for you, anything that you feel like would kind of give you a leg up would go in the appendix. So that's your first step. Second step is start pulling everything together. So you're going to want to make sure that you have at least one artifact for every course that you have taken. So when you're pulling everything together, make sure that you're also pulling together those things that you might want to put in your appendix. Then you're going to use the first checklist that I've created that hopefully will help you get everything organized. And the next slide is that checklist. And if you find that you don't have something for a class, or if it's not the recommended artifact, just let me know, and we'll work on finding a substitution. So it's hard to see in this particular format, but what I've done is I've listed every single CHD course, including the Health 135, and there's a place for you to be able to list what you have for that class. This is in a Microsoft Word document form, and it's on Blackboard for you. So that's your first step. After that, you're going to want to become familiar with the 6 NACCE standards, and I've given you lots of different resources to help you do this. I showed you under course information where there was a video that you could go to. I also have listed these Prezi presentations for each one of the 6 NACCE standards. It doesn't matter what you use, but these are great resources so you can become familiar with them. You're going to have to place your artifacts into one of these 6 standards, so it's really important for you to make sure that you understand what each one is saying. So once you have become familiar with the standards, you've made a list of everything that you have for each course. Now you're ready to start organizing. So the next table that I created for you is one where you can just simply list where you think your artifacts might go. So there's a column for each of the 6 NACCE standards. And so what I would ask you to do is to simply look at your artifact, look at the description of the NACCE standard, and then choose which one you think it best fits under. You're going to have to be able to explain that a little further down the road, but for now, understanding, for instance, that NACCE Standard 3 is all about observation. Obviously, probably CHD 165, you're going to have something from there that goes under that one. I am always happy to look at whatever you have to give suggestions or to give guidance. So if you get to this point and you want me to look over your chart, please send me an email with it and I am happy to do that. But once you get to this point and you get this filled in, it's going to be a lot easier to make your table of content. So once we get to that point, then you're going to start working on your reflective narratives. And I'm going to do a completely different video when we get to that point, simply because I want to make sure you understand how to write a reflective narrative. But basically, for every artifact that you put in the NACCE standards sections of your portfolio, you're going to have to kind of defend why you put it in that particular standard. So when we get to that point, I have a template that I've created for you that makes it a little bit easier to get the formatting down. You basically are just going to be explaining what it is, what course you used it for, what you learned from it, what the children did learn or could learn if you didn't actually have to implement it with children, and why it fits in that particular NACCE standard. And then the last thing that I would remind you about is just make sure that you are not forgetting those other assignments. The philosophy of education questions, those are not going to take you long, and so that may be something you want to go ahead and knock out of the way. I forgot to put the parent support flyer on here, but that's something that's not going to take long either. But basically, I really just kind of wanted to give you an overview of where you are, where's a good place to start, some extra resources that could help you. And then as we go along, I'm going to make some other videos and PowerPoints to help you with the other portions of completing your portfolio. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please just send me an email. I will get back to you as soon as possible. And I look forward to seeing your finished portfolios.